This morning, the good folks over at Discord made a huge announcement. Starting in 2019, the Discord store will be open to any developer to self-publish on, which is huge by itself, but the biggest plus about this news is the fact that developers will get 90% of the revenue. This news comes 2 weeks after Steam announced better revenue sharing tiers for games that sell more, and the announcement of the Epic Games Store, which will let developers self-publish and get 88% of the revenue. In the span of 2 weeks, we now have huge new storefronts coming up and amazing revenue sharing coming with them. In case you don't know much about how games are sold these days, this is all fucking huge. Not just for the developers, but for you as a consumer. For many years, the vast majority of game sales have been digital. It's been like that for many reasons. It's easier for consumers to acquire games, and it saves money for developers since they don't have to distribute as many physical copies. That last reason is especially useful for indie devs, many of which just don't have the capital to risk a physical release. And so when the mega giant known as Valve created its gaming platform Steam, it began a massive movement towards promoting digital game sales, even giving birth to digital-only releases of games on PC. With its massive seasonal sales and huge sense of gaming community, Steam for years has become the place to go for PC games. It became the unofficial PC gaming platform store, and became so huge that some games only release on it. Eventually, Steam would slowly become a platform that allowed self-publishing, which is something many platforms don't allow for quality control reasons. It started slow with Steam Greenlight, where if the Steam community wanted a game loud enough, it would be allowed to publish on Steam. But now we have Steam Direct, a program where any developer with a game and $100 can self-publish and distribute their product on a massive gaming storefront. I myself have tried out this program to get a feel of how it works and what the benefits and difficulties of it are. But while the game I used to test out this program was free, it seems one of the biggest challenges Steam had for developers was the revenue sharing. Valve takes 30% of all transactions on Steam. So as nice as it is to put your game on a well-known PC storefront, the price of that is nearly a third of all of your sales, which can make a huge impact on you. And it's not like you could just publish it somewhere else and hope it sells well. Steam has been the store to go to for PC games for a very long time, and built up its reputation over many years. So where else would you publish your game so it can be seen well and you get a bigger chunk of the profits? Well, for many years there's been itch.io as an option, another PC game storefront similar to Steam that lets users not only self-publish for free, but also keep 100% of the profits. You might hear that and think to yourself, why don't I just publish my games on there? Why doesn't everybody do this? It has a great option of letting customers pay what they want, it's open source, it's a massive hub for indie developers to get out there and be known, so why hasn't everyone collectively moved there yet? By all accounts, it should generally just be better, right? Well, there's a few problems with how itch.io is currently that stops it from collectively being the next and best PC game storefront for everyone to go. Allowing a completely free self-publishing service is nice, but the store is absolutely flooded as a result. It's filled to the brim with projects literally just dumped there as the end result of a weekend game jam and never touched again, or copied Unity tutorials that are just re-uploaded with their name slapped onto it. And don't get me wrong, it's not bad to have a hub that you can show these kind of projects off in at all. If you work hard on a game, you should be able to put it up somewhere so you can get some feedback or maybe a little money. But when there's so many people using it to dump those projects, it makes it incredibly hard to find great releases deserving of praise. Steam is finding this out themselves now too, with Steam Direct bringing a lot of asset flips and general flooding of low quality games. Which again, isn't necessarily a bad thing, that very heavily depends on a lot of factors. But the problem is they've now had to try and jump through a lot of hoops to develop a better discovery algorithm that can account for this. Steam is willing to do this because they don't want to deny games just because it's not of a certain standard of quality, or because of personal taste. If you want to upload a furry hentai puzzle battle royale MOBA with skins, you're more than allowed to, which can be a good thing, but it would ruin the whole appeal of the platform also being a place to go for quality AAA titles and high budget indie games if they don't do something to account for this. But there's another key reason why Steam grew in massive popularity while itch.io is largely ignored despite being an objectively better platform for developers to sell on. And it's the same reason why the Epic Games Store and Discord are going to become bigger marketplaces than itch.io probably ever will be. Steam built its own brand in a huge way. Back when Valve was still developing games, if you wanted to play all those great new Valve game releases, then Steam was the place you had to go. And all of their games gave the players each a sense of community, so they built the entire platform around that idea. They implemented a friend and chat system, voice calls, a forum, groups, even an activity timeline to share their fun titles. times. It took this community of Valve fans, made it stronger and closer, and then added more and more titles to it until it had become known as the central hub for PC gaming. At the time, there wasn't anything like it at all. There were forums for games, there were places to buy games, there were programs to do voice calls with, there were many different gaming communities online, but there wasn't a platform that did what Valve had done to Steam at the time. It made it a hub for all these things and made it more inclusive for other gaming communities outside of their own. Epic Games is doing the same thing. They've had such a massive success with Fortnite and wanted to grow their community. So they took their massive success and pushed it onto literally every platform out there. PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, your own phone. You can drop at Loot Lake with any and all of your friends no matter what platform any of you are playing on. Epic Games also created and runs one of the most popular game engines out there, the Unreal Engine. So the same guys that started a huge movement towards games being inclusive on all platforms also gives developers the very tools to make those kind of games. Epic Games' brand is that of no borders gaming, one big community of gamers no matter the platform. So the idea of them having their own storefront for developers to self-publish on is already amazing. But now you're telling me as a developer I can publish on there and I can also get an even better revenue share than what I've thought was the standard for years? That's just incredible. And the same goes for Discord. They brought communities together from everywhere into one roof. One communication platform for gaming that has brought so many people together. You don't even have to play games or be a part of gaming culture. It's just a wonderful service to use. It took what was once thought to be just Skype's job to do and showed that it can be done 1,000 times better. And when you put a storefront into a platform that's brand has literally been gamer Skype for years, after already establishing hundreds of thousands of communities, that's just genius. I mean, Discord has already been integrating with games it detects you playing. It's only natural that it integrates an entire game storefront onto the service. And you get tons of free games on it too if you have Discord Nitro to support the developers. Now take all that and then add revenue sharing that's even better than Epic Games, and you can tell that times are great for everyone. Developers can make way more money than before and consumers have tons more options for shopping. The problem Itch.io has in trying to enter this new battle for the top storefront is its brand. It hasn't really done much to grow itself like these other companies have. Sure, Itch.io is objectively better to use for a developer, but as a consumer it doesn't do what these other stores are doing. It introduces you to a lot of new indie titles for free or very cheap, but it's hard to stick with that kind of thing when most of what you're trying is a gamble in quality. And when a consumer can't consistently depend on a platform for quality, they don't stick around for long. It's a nice small niche community for game developers to meet and collaborate with each other in game jams, but aside from that, it hasn't done as much as these other companies. I hope one day it does though, because then Itch.io would be the ideal place to be. Until then, we get to have Epic Games, Discord, and Steam fight for who can convince the best developers and customers to move to their stores. That means we're going to get lower revenue sharing, more improvements to the services themselves, tons of sales, and free games. It's a good time to be a gamer, if you ask me. So anyways, this is the part where I promote my Patreon. Support me on there for $1 and I'll get 100% of the revenue share from that. Thank you so much. Wait, is that actually true? Wait, Patreon. Fuck, it's not. Fuck.